guys? This is Scott from Umber Outdoors again this afternoon. Going to bring you out here and show you my little raised bed garden I got going. I got plastic under there that I put on this cattle panel. It's just a 16-foot cattle panel, and I arched it above both of my raised beds. And I just put that plastic right there, just gardening plastic I bought at Walmart. But I tied these panels up on this fence post in that 4x4 over there to where they wouldn't sag. And what I've done, I planted my squash a couple weeks ago, and I've got onions in here, and it's planted me some marigolds in here to help on the pest control. So I got marigolds kind of scattered around, but those squash over there is fixing to start blooming. And I put these onions in here, and they're multiplying onions, so they'll start sprouting up from the other onions. I need to cut these back a little bit, but what I was wanting to show you is all these tomato plants. I haven't bought tomato plants in 3 years, and these are real thick, and I'll take and transplant some of them. But what I do every year, these tomatoes come up, man, they'll be all the way up to this right here to the top, and every year this bed will, this corner right here will be tomato plants, and on that back side over there, I've got those already kind of thinned out. I've got 3 over there. I've got 1 down here. And what we'll do down here is that'll grow up through that cattle panel, and I'll make that go on the outside of the cattle panel. Probably will do that one right there the same way. But how I get these tomato plants every year is I let my tomatoes, I pick most of them off toward the end of the year, but I'll leave, I don't know, 15 or 20 tomatoes on there. And part of these are cherry tomatoes. On this end will be cherry tomatoes, and on this end will be, can't remember the variety, but they're just a good round tomato. And then I've got some Roma tomatoes up there, I think it is, on that one. But I take those tomatoes in the fall of the year when they're almost dry, and I just push those old tomatoes down in the ground with my thumb, the depth of my thumb, I guess you would say, and just cover them up, and I just put them all over the bed. And then I take the old plants up. I just take all the old tomato vines out, and I just push all those little tomatoes down in the ground, and those tomatoes have seed in them. And every year for the past 3 years, I have not bought a single tomato plant. As you can see, there's a little small one coming up right there. There's some more, and I got several over there, and we'll thin those out, probably make a couple of buckets for tomatoes to go in. But I got cucumbers on that end, and they'll go outside, and they'll climb on the outside of this all the way up to here. And I'll probably keep them back a little bit from the tomatoes, because those tomatoes, they'll go through the top of this too, and kind of start falling and bushing over on the top of this right here, and I'll be able to pick tomatoes from the bottom. So, but you can see, I mean, that's just, I mean, there's 30 or 40 tomatoes right there in those two, and then there's just, and I don't know if y'all bought any tomato plants lately, but tomato plants are expensive. And we're in the, I guess, the middle to end of April, and that's how big these are right now. That's a pretty good size one there. But that's a really easy way, if you put your plastic over the top about January and just kind of make a little greenhouse out of it, put a little extra water in there, and then put your plastic over it, and those tomatoes will start sprouting, and before you know it, you got tomato plants everywhere. And right here, I think I've got, I think that is I think that's squash in there. We're going to try to grow vertical squash this year. We're going to come up through that basket there. I just got this standing here. It's actually supposed to be over here, but I just got a little tomato cage. We're going to try to grow those squash up that tomato cage, see how that goes. And this is going to be my green bean tower, my string bean tower. So I've already got runners on my beans coming up here, so we'll put those on the outside, and we'll keep working those and they'll just climb all the way up the outside of this cage all the way around. And you'd be surprised how many beans you can get off of. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pretty much 6 bean vines. It's just me and my wife. We don't put a lot of beans up, but I'll be able to get a mess of beans at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, because I keep these watered real good. And one way I got those to come up is I took I did this kind of early. I took these 2 old window panes and I put this one on top of this right here, like that, and watered it real good and just left that window with there till everything started sprouting and all the frost was gone. And then I took this big window and I put it over the top of that to get my beans to sprout and come up. And I have put some okra in there. I transplanted some okra because that's 1 pod, I think 1 or 2 pods of okra seed right there in the middle. And I just saved my okra from the year before, and I come out with 2 pods, and I just dig me a little trench and I just fill it up with a little okra seed and they start coming up. So we got okra gonna come up in the middle there. It'll actually go through the top of this up here too, but that'll give our tomatoes something to kind of grow on the bottom as well, which we'll probably put a piece of wire up here for our tomatoes to climb. But that's kind of where our garden is. I got cucumbers right here, and they're going to climb this right here. We'll have a cucumber trellis. Again, we got some marigolds in pretty much every pot, just as a pest deterrent. And what I've got, I got a water tank here, and what I've got, I don't know if y'all can see it. Let me try to zoom in. Okay, see that tank? Let me find it. Right, well, it's zooming me out, but right up there, there's a tank. That's a concrete tank, and we have a spring way back up the hollow, back up that way, that runs into this tank. And then that tank has an overflow. So the overflow I've got running down to my pool, and I've got a little splitter over there so I can turn it off to the pool, and then I can divert it over to here. And I keep my minnows in here because I fish a lot, so I keep my minnows in this spring water. But right now I haven't run any water in it in a while, and the sun that's come out lately has kind of got it green, but that's okay because I use that water to water my little garden here. So if I need more water, I just go over and turn my water hose on, which is my overflow, and it comes over and fills my tank up. And then we just water out of that. Kind of cool. Look right here. That's a tomato plant growing out the side of that raised bed there, just from the seed that was down in there. But anyway, we'll give another update a little later on. There's Ryder. What are you doing, Ryder? He's everywhere I go. Great dog. But anyway, we'll do another update in maybe a month and see where we're at on all this. And we'll probably have squash blooms by the end of the week, and hopefully in another maybe 2-3 weeks we'll have some squash to eat. We got onions. Hopefully our okra comes on and does well. Tomatoes are looking good. And the cool thing with this, in the dead of the summer, I can stretch my plastic back over the top and give them a little bit of a shade and keep them watered good, and if I don't have too many vines on the outside. But anyway, it's a cool little garden setup. It's not very big at all, but I can grow enough squash, okra, tomatoes, onions, cucumbers for me and the wife, and we always put up as many squash as we can. We like squash, so we put up squash. If we have any extra okra, we put that up. Beans, we just eat them weekly. But y'all can see, I mean, I've only got it's probably 4 foot by 8 foot, so that's 32 square feet. And this is about 4 by 5, so that's 20, so that's 52 square feet. And then maybe 2 or 3, 6, 50. I mean, I literally got about 60 square feet in these 2 beds and those 2 boxes over there and those 2 rounds. And with that, small amount of area. I mean, you can have a place in town behind the house and do this. I got a weed eat. My wife's gonna get on me about that, but I use these buckets right here. Those are buckets that trees come in, fruit trees, and I take those and fill them up with some dirt and potting soil, and then I'll take and transplant some of the tomatoes into those, and we'll just set them out here on the side and let them do their thing out on the side. So, and we'll probably put a couple of cages, like those cages right there, around those pots, and then let those. The cool thing is you can keep them watered real good, and if they're sitting on the ground, they'll actually, the roots will actually go out the bottom, the holes of it, and go down into the ground and pull water from the ground as well. And I don't have a float on this here, so sometimes when I turn it on, it overruns. So if I put those tomatoes anywhere around this and it overflows, it's going to water from the bottom. So, but anyway, just wanted to show you guys my raised beds, a couple cattle panels. This one's actually cut in half. I'll probably put another fence post right here on this corner to kind of tie this to where we get a little more stability on that, and maybe pull this one up to it. But that's kind of the setup, guys, and we'll come back and show you some of the fruits of our labor a little bit later on. Appreciate you guys watching. Y'all go out and grow your garden. It's good for you.